and I'm here with Project Life 2016. I'm working on week 13, and so I just wanted to chat a little bit about where I'm at with this Project Life album and what's coming in the future, kind of down the pipeline, and just had a couple of notes about first, I did want to say that somebody had asked me, hi Christina, somebody had asked me about what these envelopes are that I keep my embellishments in. And these little envelopes are by Post-it brand, and I find them at Staples, which is an office supply store here in North Carolina and throughout the U.S. I find it in the Post-it aisle with the other Post-it notes and stuff like that. In our Staples, they keep them with the other things that are on that aisle are like the desk organizers and planners are on that aisle as well. And these are, I think there's a couple of sizes that they make them in, and I think that these are the medium size, but I don't have a package in front of me. I just buy them in sets of 3, and they're not cheap. They're like $2 a piece. So I think if you buy 3, it's like $6. But I keep most of my embellishment packs, like once I've gone through a couple of layouts with an embellishment pack, I put them in here just because it's flat and it stores them pretty well. Now this helps me with my bigger organization picture, which is also what I wanted to show you. And you might have seen this in one of my previous videos. I don't know, but I haven't really talked about this. I know a couple of months ago I talked about how I reorganized my whole scrapbook space, and I decided to house my products by collection. And I'm sorry, I just have like little pieces of paper and stuff all over the place. But anyway, so I store my collections all together so that that way when I want to use Dear Lizzy Happy Place, which is today's collection, I just go for this folder, and I guess it's not really a folder. It's a 12 by 12 pocket, and I just put everything in it. All the papers are in here, and my alphabets. I pulled a couple of products already for today's layout. So my alphabets and my stickers and my stamps, and then I put the embellishments in this little pocket like this. Just so that I have it all together. I found that one of the things that was really frustrating me about my studio space was that I had, in the past, I had all of these together in a bucket. So Dear Lizzy Happy Place was in alphabetical order with crepe paper and Maggie Holmes and whatever else. And so when I wanted to use Dear Lizzy Happy Place, I had to go to my embellishment bucket and pull my embellishments. Then I was storing all my stamps in one place, and so if I wanted to use the same collection but the stamps that went with it, I had to go to my stamp collection and go through all that. And so I was spending a lot more time looking for product than I really wanted to be spending. So first I made the decision, and you probably have noticed this about me, I tend to scrap using one collection. In the past, I did not scrapbook that way. In the past, I literally did say, oh okay, I want to use this stamp set from Dear Lizzy, but then I want to use, I'm just looking for an example, I want to use this paper from Jen Hadfield. That's how I used to scrapbook, and again, it absolutely did take way too much time. And So I decided to let these designers do that work for me. I've been really happy with how my layouts have been turning out. And the other thing that I wanted to say as well was about some of my planning process. I see all the time, you guys, where people say, "Oh my gosh, I'm like so behind on my project life," and you ask them, "Well, what week are you on?" And they say, "Oh, I'm on week 12. I'm so behind. I need to work on that." And to me, like, being in week 12 is a perfect place to be. And there's several reasons for that I have to explain. And this is simply how I do it. And so by no means do I feel like everybody should do it this way, and by no means do I criticize other people for how they do project life. That's not at all my intention. My intention is simply to share how I do it and what works for me, and how it helps me not feel guilt. Because I am working on week 13 right now. And I'm totally okay with that. And here's why I'm totally okay with that. There are a couple of things in my process that I do in batches. Creating my Project Life layouts in the Project Life app is one thing I do in batches, so 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And printing is something that I do probably 2 or 3 weeks at a time. I wish that I could say I'm religious about creating a layout every week and printing out a layout every week, and life gets in the way. And this is also, I think that this is also helpful if you're the kind of person that sends your printing out, because then you can batch it together and pay less shipping for batching. And so what happens then is, if I'm going to sit down and create my layouts in batches, and I'm going to print them in batches, then I need to be out a few weeks in order to catch up. And I also find that if I step back or step forward a few weeks before I'm dealing with the layout itself, I can process that better. I can be out a little bit further from it and see the overall picture versus boom, the week just happened and I'm still in it and I'm still too close to it and I don't really know what to say about it yet. So to those of you who are a few weeks behind, I just want to say you've met your tribe here, and don't feel guilt over that. Let that be a part of your planning process. That is a part of my planning process for my YouTube channel and for my blog. So you'll see that by now you probably know I do a Project Life 2016 video on Tuesdays, Disney on Wednesdays, and Project Life 2014 on Thursdays. And so that requires planning. And that way I have like the next 3 or 4 weeks planned out already. And I mean, it's nothing scientific. I will tell you that. It's nothing scientific. Here is my plan, my action plan for this week, right? And so it talks about the layouts that I've created, and sometimes I'll add like what collection I plan to use, but I don't always. But sometimes I do, and it's okay to, at this point, marry your collection with your layout if you are a hybrid scrapbooker. And so then this is what, next week would look like, and so on. And I have like, I don't know, that's 13, 14, and 15. So those are planned out, and I'm just starting to work in week 16. So it goes on, and these just continue to rotate as the weeks move forward. And so that's sort of a little bit of insight into how I plan my layouts and how I plan my videos, and just sort of what my what my messy little system is to keep me organized. This way I can also keep track of what photos I've used and have a quick resource to know just where I'm at currently. So that was just a quick look at how I do that, and then so I've already kind of shown you some of the products that I'm going to use today. I'm also probably going to cut up some of these words, and I also have excuse me, the Dear Lizzy Transparency. So I'm going to get started on this, and I'll speed up the video, and I hope you have fun watching. Okay, so I'm just getting started here and clearing off my desk, and it always takes me a few minutes just getting into a new layout to kind of figure out where I'm going or where to start at. I know some people go block by block or pocket by pocket, but I tend to go through what I have and sort of think about what the collection is that I'm working with and how I want to use those elements and how they blend with the layout itself. So it's kind of what I'm doing right now, is just looking through the little ephemera bits and stuff like that, and sort of getting a feel for the layout. I haven't, other than printing this layout, I haven't spent any time with it at all. And so sometimes I just need it to speak to me, right? And I think that's really kind of what I'm doing. I know one thing I have decided on is that I must have flowers always and always. That's going to go there. That's the only thing I have decided at this point. So I figure out that I'm going to use these little asterisks to mark the week on the calendar card. And I realize this week goes from March 27 to April 2nd, and April 2nd is not on that calendar card. But that's okay, right? I mean, it's mostly the last week of March, and I think that's really what I wanted to convey. It's also the week of spring break, and I didn't really, I'm not really focusing too much on that, because it's really just, this is just one day. So I stamped a little camera on there and added a little glitter heart. And then what I want to do is use some of these word strips. There was that one page, the pattern paper that has the word strips on it. And then I decided to use one of those mint green ones for Nick's picture. And then I added a pineapple and then his initial. As I'm going to do that, you'll see I'll do that with all four of them. Something that I used to be really good about and sort of got away from. But I like when I have a layout like this that has photos of all four of the kids and where they each stand on their own. And then just to add their initial is fun. I decided to cover up that camera. And I don't use pop dots a lot on these Project Life layouts, but for some reason it spoke to me today. So I'm just going to write a couple of sentences here about the weather and how nice it was that week, just to see the sun coming back. And then I'm not going to do much to this card. I just decided to add the two little hearts, and that was it. Excuse me. I'm also just going to cover up that little flower. I think that was really more just because I like that turquoise one better. And then layering that one on top. I'm also kind of going back and forth about what I want to add to that card. I I was going to try that Life is a Party stamp, and that didn't quite fit where it needed to fit. So then I decided to put Good Times on there. And one thing that I was really pleasantly surprised about was how well the colors in this Project Life layout blended so well with the colors in the Happy Place collection. And that's one of the things about when I create these layouts. I don't tend to think about what collection I'm going to use once it's printed. I just create what I like to create in the app and then worry about the collection later. And so that way I still have flexibility. It just, I think it would be too much for me to try to plan the layout in the app around a collection already. So I'm just going to take these word strips. I love that paper. It's so much fun, and those colors make me happy. I'm just trimming it here. I am going to let it run off of the journaling card a little bit. One, because that's where how the words fit. So that's all right to do that. I like crossing those borders on these layouts, and I do that often. It's one of the things that I've liked about scrapbooking on top of the page protector, and one of the things I really like about printing out these app layouts is that I can cross those borders, and if I want to use an element across two different pockets or two different photos, I can. So I'm just going to add a word strip and Addison's initial here. And this side will be done. I did have a little bit of a conflict because if I put that green word strip right next to the pink one, it wasn't going to look right. So I brought it up a little bit. Just a design decision. I am going to use my Tim Holtz Tiny Attacher and staple that little transparent element. And I say this every time, if you use it on a hard surface, the staples will probably do what they're supposed to, but I tend to use just a piece of chipboard that I keep. I love this transparency, and y'all know me by now and know that I love to use transparencies, and I was really excited that those little elements match. So I'm just measuring, because I'm going to trim that transparency down. So I'm just measuring. I don't measure very often, but there you go. That's an instance where I would measure. And then I trimmed it down, and I'm going to round the corners. And I use Becky Higgins' corner rounder, and I will just say the one thing about it, because I know some people complain about corner rounders. There's not a single one that really works very well. But I know that with Becky Higgins' corner rounder, if you make sure that the little leftover pieces that you trim off, make sure that they're not falling back into the punch, and then it will continue to work the way it's supposed to. So I spent a little bit of time deciding on whether I wanted the transparency on both the top and the bottom of that card, and then decided just to put it on the top. And then I decided to use this lovely word. And in hindsight, I don't know if I should have put that transparency on the top or on the bottom, but it is what it is. So I'm just going to leave it like that. And then I'm adding the word strip and Natalie's initial with the little cherries. And there is a sentimental reason for those cherries. When she was a tiny baby, she had a couple of little outfits from Gymboree for a couple of years in a row that had cherries on them. They were some of my favorites. So that's why I put the cherry stickers on her picture. And that's just something for me, right? And then I'm going to add this camera on top of that floral card. I love that floral card. So I just wanted to add a little something to it though. Now I'm working here on, that's Emberlin's word strip. And then her initial. And a little sideways watermelon. And then I think I'm working on there we go, the hearts. I'm going to cover up those hearts too. I'm just doing a couple of word strips here. Nothing very complicated. And then I'm going to add a little bit of journaling about the girls. It's definitely a good day when they get to go outside and play. We had a lot of rain here in March, and so April the end of March was a good we were ready for some sunshine. And then I'm gonna add a spring break with these alphabets. So I'm using just that little stamp block just to see how long those words are, and then to figure out where to put them on the card. It's probably a bit much to put on that little card, but oh well, it's bold. The black hexagon is bold too, so that's alright. I decided that I'm going to put the word break above the date line. So I'm just doing that real quick, and yes, it covers up the written 13, and it's okay. And then I'm trying to figure out how to line it up so that they're straight. And I decided to use the top of the card. So, there we go. I know that was confusing. There. And then I'm going to just use, this is one of One Little Bird's stamp sets from Studio Calico. And I'm just going to add March 27th to April 2nd on the date line on that card. Using those numbers. I'm not sure if this really worked or not, but there it is. I put that down and I realized that the 4 and the 3 were going to be a little bit crowded together. But again, just go with it. Nothing here has to be perfect, but I do know I need to divide those numbers up somehow. So I'm going to cut up one of those hearts and use the glitter strips, and I just cut a little diagonal strip to go in between the days, and then another little tiny one for the dash. And then I think that's it. Yep, this layout is all done. So thanks so much for watching today, and then I'll see you back again next week with another layout. Bye-bye, guys.